Lamborghini made me keep this a secret until now. Today I can finally show you their brand new hypercar, the latest in the ultra rare Few Off series, and I've had exclusive early access before the world sees it. Welcome to Fenomeno. It's loud, it's wild, and it's going to cost millions. With just a handful being made for the world's most prestigious collectors, this is the first look at one of the most extreme Lamborghinis ever, and you're coming with me. Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello, and welcome back to the channel where today you join me in Italy to take a first look at the brand new Lamborghini Fenomeno. The Lamborghini Few Off series cars have caused quite the stir over the years. Not only have we been lucky to feature each model on the channel, but I've been spoilt to drive every one of them. Since whispers of a new model surfaced, I've been following this secret car closely, waiting for the opportunity to hop on an early flight, walk past the familiar showroom at Bologna Airport, and visit the home of Lamborghini to take a first look behind closed doors at what they've created. What greets you on arrival here in the design department is the Terzo Millennio. Now, I remember when this was launched back in 2017, a preview of the third millennium. It was, in fact, Mitja Borkert's, I think, first real full project he had undertaken, creating this distinct Lamborghini design. You see that with the shape and the silhouette of it, but obviously extreme and looking very much to the future. But what we're talking about today is what is now. So come with me. Here we are then. Welcome to Centro Stile. Inside, this is where the magic happens, and this is the car we're going to be taking a look at. Under this cover, the new Lamborghini Fenomeno. Now, I've been lucky to visit here a few times, and immediately alongside is actually the Countach LP500, a modernized remake of the original 1971 concept of one of the most iconic Lamborghinis of all time, and a design inspiration for what we have under this cover. To give you a very quick teaser, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Let me head round towards the back to pull the covers off so that we can take a look here for the very first time at the brand new Lamborghini Few Off series car, the Lamborghini Fenomeno. Take a look at this, an absolute phenomenon as the name translates. There's a lot to talk about. Let's go for a quick walk around to introduce the new model. This is it then, following from some pretty legendary cars when you talk about the Reventon, the Veneno, Centenario, Sian and Countach. In fact, including the convertibles, 9 previous models, 20 years now of Centro Stile, 29 Phenomenos. Now, the first thing you notice is that this is a big car, proportionally stretched out, wider, giving that very low but familiar Lamborghini silhouette. And we're going to be talking more about the design. It actually sits at 5,014 millimeters of length, just over 5 meters. Of course, it houses the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 with the 3 electric motors for the hybrid system. It's the most powerful production Lamborghini V12 with 1,080 horsepower in total. The four-wheel drive system and lots of clever tech. The new 6D sensor that sits at the center of gravity with all of the computers that can communicate with each other. Lots going on with the suspension. We'll touch on all of this as well as we go. But to create a car that can sit obviously as the flagship, right? Of course, with cars like Revuelto and Centenario that are already so extreme, to be able to make something that is, as they call it, hyper elegant, very distinctly the pinnacle, the hypercar, well, that's what they've done. And to get here, there's of course been a lot we need to discuss. To get a better understanding of what the new car is all about, we've come over to the Museo Lamborghini. It's the summer holidays, it's absolutely packed, but not only do we have the predecessor here, the new Countach, but also a lineup with 5 of the models that came before that to go and talk about. So let's rewind in time and head back to where it all began. Picture the scene. It's 2007. Lamborghini pull off the covers of the Reventon, based on the Murcielago, in fact, very much preempting what would become the Murcielago LP500 SV, the Super Veloce, one of the most revered Lamborghinis. There are 20 coupes, 15 roadsters, this design and feeling very much inspired by fighter jets, and this was really the beginning of an era of this type of car. It's then in 2010 that this arrived. I remember seeing it being introduced at the Paris Motor Show the Sesto Elemento. Based on the Lamborghini Gallardo, this is the sixth element, carbon fiber extensive use of a lightweight material, a car that's only 999 kilograms with the V10 engine in the back, for the track officially with the plans to make 20, but it's believed fewer than that were ever actually produced. The world went wild when this landed at Geneva in 2013, the Veneno. There are 4 coupes, this is the factory prototype. Each of the 3 customer cars have different coloured pinstripe details, the 3 colours of the Italian flag, the tricolore. Based on the Aventador platform, there were then 9 roadsters, but the idea of very much experimenting with aerodynamics, a road-going version of a racing prototype, and one of the most collectible and valuable modern Lamborghinis in the entire world. 2016 would have been the 100th birthday of the company founder Ferruccio Lamborghini, and as such, we have Centenario, with only 20 coupes and 20 roadsters, and this example in the full exposed carbon fibre bodywork. This again took that platform and gave us a preview for what would happen in the series production models that would come after it. It doesn't feel like long ago, but in 2019 was the Sian FKP37, the first hybridized Lamborghini with a supercapacitor. There are 63 coupes to go with the company being founded back in 1963 and 19 roadsters that then came a little bit later. Lastly, 4 years ago, what was the 50th anniversary of that original Countach, the new Countach, the LPI800-4, again hybrid. There are 112 of these, which represents the original codename, the LP112, that the Countach wore. But this was the last of the few offs. We're here to talk more about the latest. Let's head back over to Centro Stile, go find Mitja Borkert and talk all about it.
Here we have something really special. This is the LP500. Yeah? I don't know if everyone knows, this car doesn't exist anymore. And it's also just a design model. Yeah? Because it looks like a car, but it is, in the end of the day, it's our visualization. For me, it's something very special, because the LP500, maybe you have some nice photos that you can show now in this video. Yeah? It was presented in 71.
Yep.
And for me, this is the starting point of our design DNA that we are using also on a car like the Fenomeno.
Yeah.
Because for me, the Countach, of course there was the Miura before, but the Countach is the one that has the Lamborghini silhouette. Yeah, and it's also for me, and to this day, is the one that is also giving us a lot of inspiration for the sculpture, for the surfaces. And this model here is a recreation of our design team, because we 2 or 3 years ago we presented this car as a real car in Villa d'Este,
yeah.
And that was our design mock-up, because we wanted to recreate this to the perfection. You know, we were using all the photos, all the black and white photos of this original car, and then we were working on every inclination, double checking where in the original car was something negative and so on, the size of the exhaust pipes, all the directions we were checking. And this is for us something special, because it's a big team effort in Centro Stile, but then also together with Polo Storico.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because it might not immediately be obvious, but this is so much obviously part of the history that leads us to where we are now.
So this is 71, so this is now 52 years or 53 years. So in the end of the day, here we have the Lamborghini Fenomeno. This is our latest creation. This is our, let's say, stunning piece of design that we are about to present from today in 2 weeks, in Pebble Beach. And that's our design model. So for everyone that is seeing this video, it looks like a car, but for us it is, let's say, the latest milling of the design. So we are able to present it to you or to the customer or to ourselves to check really every little detail. The Fenomeno is also for sure following exactly the design principles of the Countach. Always the silhouette. Yeah? So when you see the car in side view, there's always the single center line, and this is for me the #1 ingredient of this Italian recipe to create a nice pasta, but pasta in the style of Lamborghini. Yeah?
I get it, but interestingly, you use the phrase hyper elegant.
Yes.
And it's really intriguing to me, because when you create a car like this, a few-off car, cars like Revuelto and Centenario already look special. You need to make this look even more special.
Exactly.
It has to somehow sit above, well, the flagship, it's the Halo product, right?
Yes.
How do you go about that from the beginning when you're starting with a blank sheet of paper? How do you begin?
I would say it starts with a nice shower, or I go running. Yeah, maybe. So in the end of the day, it is starting with an image that comes into my mind. But of course, we are working here as a big team. So when we do the starting of such a project, we have a lot of sketches and a lot of ideas. But at one point, we always meet all the designers, and then I say, guys. I share with you my vision that I have. I want to also your idea, and then we are kind of talking us through what kind of fantasy we have for such a car. And the term hyper elegant, for us it was clear the car is for a very, very special presentation day. Pebble Beach, Monterey, the Monterey Car Week is an extremely exclusive event. Everywhere supercars. The town is full of beautiful things. So you need to create something that is sticking out. And therefore we were saying, okay, let's give this car the term hyper elegant, which means this is like an athlete that is not in his usual sports suit, but he's wearing a nice robe, maybe even a black tie. I don't know. Yeah. So we have created surfaces that are a little bit more human. We are using, like in the original Countach, large surfaces. The original Countach was also not so hard in terms of, when you look at the sharp lines. The car is, from far away you see it sharp, also this one. But when you see the bigger surfaces, I would like to highlight one, is the surface here, the rear shoulder. We really did nothing here. We just made a negative shape, a long positive shape, and then a nice muscle. But it looks so stunning, especially when you see it from rear view, because here's where the athlete becomes then this kind of person in the sense of a car. So especially in the rear view, there is this human structure underneath, but it's the same of the Countach. But then Lamborghini, we always want to have then of course something that is standing out. No? You know that, for example, our light signature is very important. Everyone else is doing light stripes and which is fine for me, but we want to have always something really different. And therefore we came up with this idea, the double Y looks a bit like victory, it looks a bit like, I don't know, something very proud. And this is for me the best part on the Fenomeno.
It's taking familiar shapes, because the Ypsilon and the hexagons are very familiar shapes. And there are a few more to talk about as we walk around. Talk to me about the length, because it's a big car, obviously very different proportionally to Temerario, for example.
Yes. Now also here, you come from the mission. The starting point is the mission. The Temerario is agile, compact, nimble, no? It wants to be fast on the track. This car here is like, I don't know, it's playing with shape. This is a car for a concours d'elegance, and in this occasion you dress well and you have space, because such a car is always, I'm always imagining it on a green field, on a nice, in Quail Lodge. There's so much space. When you walk over to Lamborghini, you can see from 100 meters, you can see a Lamborghini already. And these are the moments that I pre-imagine when we design the cars. So that's why the car is longer. In Italy, we would say filante. Okay. There's a bit of long tail. That's the idea behind.
So it has the length, because obviously the overhangs significantly grow in comparison to something that's more fun or pointed in that like agile direction. But you've also integrated the active aero.
Yes.
You've brought in, I'm going to say, familiar ideas or shapes from motorsport. There's a lot of motorsport.
Exactly. But in an elegant way, exactly. So the wing, we wanted to have really everything integrated. So later in the final car, you will see the wing is moving out. We have a couple of positions here for the downforce position, for the speed position, etc. If you want, here we gave some inspiration from the STO or from the Essenza SCV12.
In fact, I think a lot of the tail and the shape feels very reminiscent of SCV12.
As I say, for me it's like, in the end of the day, it's like when you taste a nice glass of red wine. There's always something that you discover and you say, this Chianti has a taste of another red wine. And this is a little bit what is for me totally fine when we look at a Lamborghini. Important is that everyone is saying, I see here Countach and I see Gallardo, and not other brands. So this is for me when we.
It's on. But there's also quite a lot of aero, because you have to, you're working obviously with the engineering team and with Reventon and everyone while developing the car.
Absolutely.
But there's quite a lot going on. There's S-ducts at the front, there's the setup with the intake here and the NACA duct profile, and you've got to build that all in from the beginning. I know there's quite a few places. Airflow goes through here.
Exactly.
Like Temerario, it runs up here as well.
Yes. This is part of our new philosophy, that we want to integrate the lights, like in a motorcycle, within the design, but always also with an aerodynamical concept behind. So that's why we have chosen also here this idea with the channel. But I don't want to just put the lights as a graphic. They need to be a little bit hidden. You know, in the end of the day, on such a car, you always want to discover something.
Yeah, makes sense.
For example, we can discover some hexagons, but if you count, there are 5 corners, so I call them the speedy hexagons. Because they are kind of already in movement if the wheel is spinning. Yeah. So then, as you say, aerodynamic is in place. Also here, one element taking a bit inspiration on the STO. Then the door, carbon fiber door. So we have a lot of depth here. So we are getting out the hot air in the braking zones in this area. Then if you want here, there is another very modern interpretation of the NACA air intake. So it is, the LP500 didn't have it, but the later Countaches they have. So this is also for me an element of Lamborghini.
So how much do you look at the previous few off models, you know, Reventon, which I know is an icon, a hero car for yourself, and everything since, you know, Veneno, Centenario. Is there an intention to create that family feel between these cars, or is it almost that it happens naturally because of the language that you're using?
I tell you my secret. My secret is, over all the years, I got to know a couple of customers, and I have seen a couple of very good Lamborghini collections. Yeah. So I'm collecting little Hot Wheels cars or little toy cars, Matchbox cars, whatever. So, and I'm always, you know, I can afford those cars, but our customer, they can afford Veneno, and they have maybe a Sian, and maybe they have a Countach. So in the end of the day, I'm always thinking if I would be myself the customer, and they always want to have a new toy in their collection. So therefore, all of our cars, they have to look like a Lamborghini, but the design language of the Veneno is a different one to the Sian, and the Countach was different. And again, for the Fenomeno, there's a total different form language. So we are kind of, I'm always saying with music, the artist is Lamborghini, but every car that we do is a new song of that artist. Everyone in Lamborghini will tell you for sure to create such a view-off car is to look over the boundary, what is possible in technology. Of course, for designers, it is something where you can research beyond. That's, you know, this car is beyond design. So it is a place where all of our designers, not only exterior, the interior, the color and trim. Yeah. So because we will also present this car in a new yellow color. Yeah. It's not exactly this color. There will be a really stunning yellow that is really popping out of, you know, when we are going to present this in Quail Lodge. You will see this also from far away. So in the end of the day, this is a playground, if you want, for technology, but then for creativity. Yeah. And here we are, you know, we have to go beyond, always.
Because you're coming up, I mean, things like the shape towards the roof and the elements, the fins over the engine bay, these are all more aggressively styled. There's a bit more flair to them almost than you can do, I think, with a normal series production car. Yeah,
I mean, for sure. Also here we wanted to have the view to the engine. Yeah. Now here in the design mock-up, it is a little bit limited because the engine is just a piece of design that we put it inside. Later you will see with the true car. But in the end of the day, underneath this really beautiful, clean, puristic, muscular shape, the hyper elegant, we put it then all the brutal things, let's say, if you want to call it brutal, or maybe there's a better word for this, but you know, the exhaust pipe, the diffuser.
The exhaust pipe is an enormous piece itself.
I would say, you know, so that's you know, this is the elegant and that's the hyper. Yeah. So
wrapped under this one line.
Exactly. So that's the combination for me. Yeah. So in the end of the day, it is exactly what you want to explore, what you want to discover when you have such a car. You know, again, it is a different treatment. You know, the Veneno was showing all over the place that it is bold and Y-shape, and it had the inspiration of Le Mans cars, for example. On the Countach, we wanted to celebrate the elegance of the original Countach, and we wanted to celebrate in the end of the day 50 years of this existence. So on every view of car, we always, we think, what is the next beat? What is the next rhythm? What is the new song? Yeah?
I love these analogies, but also I noticed we have some of the new interior components as well.
I mean,
because
as I said, here we have not the interior, but we have already also here anticipated the racing seat, which is here. This is not carbon fiber. This is, we call it cubicatura. So this is a sticker that is.
But the seat will be carbon for the car.
The carbon seat will be in the car. We gave it a very nice ergonomy when you sit inside. Now, if you would sit inside, it would break apart. But you know, it is fitting every customer in terms of size. And then, because the exterior is in full carbon fiber, then not only the seat, but then also the door panel will be in carbon fiber.
So the interior is almost an evolution of what we've seen before as well, some new details. And
it is, for sure, it is following our new philosophy, Feel Like a Pilot, that we introduced with the Revuelto and the Temerario, and this is continuing it, but you need to wait for Pebble Beach. There's more alien inside.
Okay.
Because the center console is a little bit more, let's say, has a special shape.
Yeah.
Fully done in carbon fiber, but there will be some alien eyes in the ambient light. But you need to need to wait for the presentation.
I'm looking forward to seeing that very soon.
Yeah, so we are really proud, as I say here. I mean, I would have never said in the past that you know, our cars are beautiful in the sense of beauty, you know, because our cars are very powerful and they have to be Lamborghinis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Italy, everyone is always saying Bella Macchina, but because it's so special. Yeah. But for sure, the Fenomeno is something where I say this is a very beautiful car.
Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You can bet that, like its predecessors, the new Fenomeno is going to feature on our platform, exclusive Car Registry. This is where you'll find all the information that you could possibly want when it comes to these exceptionally rare few-off series cars, from the Reventons around the world to the new Countach and the different configurations that customers have chosen. Whether it's the Fenomeno that tickles your fancy or any number of other collectible cars, join with a free account and be part of this amazing community that's all about the world's most exclusive cars. Let's talk about Fenomeno's powertrain. This is, of course, a big topic, and it might be easy to think this is just a new body cloaked over an existing model from the lineup, but that is not the case. Now, it begins with one of our favorite engines in the world, the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12. We know it, we love it, it sounds amazing, and of course it revs to 9,500 RPM. So that gives you now 835 horsepower, so up 10 horsepower from its previous series use in the Revuelto. Along with that, 725 newton meters of torque, and you get 80% of that from 3,500 RPM. You then have a radial flux motor, the E motor, sitting at the rear on top of the engine, and also two axial flux motors on the front axle. So you have full electric driving, and in fact, more so than before due to a new battery, a 7 kilowatt hour battery rather than the previous 3.8 kilowatt hour batteries. Each of those motors are good for 150 horsepower, 350 newton meters of torque, and in fact, that's actually 55 horsepower more from the electric system alone than found previously in Revuelto. You then have a car that will get you 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour, in just 2.4 seconds, making this the fastest accelerating Lamborghini model ever. 0 to 200 kilometers an hour is just 6.7 seconds. That's to 124 miles an hour, and the top speed of Fenomeno is over 350 kilometers an hour, 217 miles per hour. Of course, you also have the 8-speed DCT, the dual clutch transmission. It also has continuous downshifting, so you can hold the downshift paddle and it will immediately rev as you're slowing down the car to give you the perfect gear, which is no doubt going to sound amazing. It weighs approximately 1,770 kilos, giving you a horsepower per kilo of 1.64, and I have no doubt that this is going to be a seriously rapid car
to experience. To talk about the driving technology, so something new here is the new 6D sensor. The 6D sensor is positioned right by the center of gravity, so low and bang in the middle of the car. And that's this new computer system that's reading a lot of different systems and parameters to optimize the drive. And I experienced this a bit when I drove Centenario and how clever that's getting. This is the next level of it. So effectively it's reading the longitudinal, lateral, vertical sensors. It has pitch, yaw and roll, and it takes all of that information and connects exactly how you want it to drive. And of course, talking driving, your contact with the ground. Here, you've actually got some new brakes, so CCMR Plus brakes. That's effectively incorporated from the SC63 Le Mans World Endurance Championship LMDH hypercar. Then you've got 21-inch wheels up front, 22-inch wheels at the rear. They are wearing Bridgestone Potenza Sport tyres, and there's an additional track but still road homologated tyre available for even more dynamic driving. In addition to that, the suspension is reworked from the standard setup on Revuelto. And not only that, it also has race shocks that are manually adjustable. So you're going to have a lot of fun in terms of the dynamic drive of this. And I can only begin to imagine that whether you're driving at extremes on a racetrack or whether you take that hyper elegant style, cruising style of driving, it's going to do a very good job of it. More by way of the design, like other models, there's a shark nose, very pronounced, very aggressive. To me, this is screaming Countach. It almost looks like the side intakes for the cooling on new Countach. Down below, these Ypsilon shapes integrated through here, again for the airflow and the cooling, all of your ADAS sensors and systems hidden away. You've got that airflow that goes through here. You've got the S-duct to help with the aerodynamic downforce and keeping the front end planted. But I love this split. The upper surfaces in a bright, bold, vibrant body color, the lower surfaces and everything you see either in the carbon look or in gloss black to be finished in exposed carbon. But obviously with ad personam as we know it, over 400 different paint colors available, all sorts of options in terms of exclusive liveries and ideas that will no doubt be done by the 29 customers of these cars going forward. This is so reminiscent of Super Trofeo, of the race cars that inspired the STO based on the Hurricane. Again here, this new interpretation of the NACA duct, but designed to help with accelerating air in towards the cooling, but maintaining these Y shapes again throughout the entirety of the bodywork. Hexagons everywhere, whether it's the fuel filler cap, whether it's the shape of the side window surround, but also these side windows that, as Mitja was talking about previously when we went to take a look at Centenario, are very much angled inwards, giving you that instant feeling that what you're looking at is a new Lamborghini model. That's it then from here at Centro Stile in Sant'Agata Bolognese. What an opportunity to come out to Italy, to be joined by Mitja to take a first look at the latest in this line of Lamborghini's few-off series cars, the Lamborghini Fenomeno. If you like videos like this, check out the one right over there. But that's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!